Hi students, I just wanted to give you a quick tutorial on the fourth homework, Nutrition Applied. Note here that I have added links to the UL tables because they can be a little bit hard to find. So you have them here, both of them under the homework assignment. So this homework assignment, I think it's really important and it will show you a lot about your diet, but it is a little bit more complex. So let's take a look at this really quickly. First of all, what you're going to be doing is looking at water, vitamins, and minerals and how your intake compares to goal and compares to the upper limit, which is the UL. You're going to then reflect and make changes in the computer, in the iProfile, that could perhaps make your diet better. And then you'll look at that to see how close you came to goal. So it's all written here. Take the time to read through this a couple of times. Okay, I put the instructions up front and then come the tables. So there are two tables with a white and gray area. White before changes, gray after changes. The first table is your goal, your DRI, and how your intake compares to the goal. So you get this data directly from your iProfile reports, intake compared to DRI. And you're going to start with moisture and run all the way through the vitamins and minerals listed in this basic report. So you'll be simply copying these numbers and inserting them into your chart here. Okay, this will show you how far you are from that goal. For all of these vitamins and minerals and water, you want to reach and go over that 100%, but not exceed the UL. There is one exception to that rule, and that's sodium. Sodium you want to keep under our 2,300 milligrams. So you're going to look at that. Now next, you're going to look on your report to see if any of your intake values were above the UL. If they were below 100%, they can't be above the UL. You don't get enough. So you can't be short and also be excessive. So you only have to really check things that are above 100%. But that doesn't mean that this is too much, but you need to compare your intake to the UL for anything above 100%. Now, in the case of this individual, the sodium is above the recommended range, and that would go on the UL chart because the UL for sodium is 2,300 milligrams. And actually, that's the only thing that would go on their UL chart. This chart does not need to be filled in if you don't exceed the UL. Some students will have sodium that exceeds the UL and maybe one or two others. Some students will have nothing that exceeds the UL, but you need to check. So the next thing is to look back at your numbers and think about the things that you don't get enough of. So for this individual, she is short on quite a few. Okay, not only water, but vitamin A and D and E and K, a little bit on thiamine and pantothenic acid and folate. So I might make a list on a piece of paper and look up in my textbook what are sources, food sources of these nutrients. Okay, because the final step here is to make some changes. So what you're going to do is you're going to go back into your iProfile. Now you've saved those original reports, so you're okay, but you're going to go back into the food journal. I'm forgetting where I last recorded some foods. All right. So this is not me. Hold on there. Let's see if we have okay, this is a little bit better. So you're going to look at the days that you recorded, and you're going to look at the things that you were short on and perhaps had too much of, and then you're going to make changes in your diet that you could really make in real life, because the final step, or almost final step, is to run a report on the diet after changes to see if you got closer to goal or perhaps met your goals. So let's say that this individual was low in calcium. Looking at this diet, there's a lot we could do here. Maybe we could add some yogurt with fruit at breakfast. So you would do this the way that you did it way back when. I would like low-fat Greek, I think, and add my own blueberries. Okay, so I'm going to add that to breakfast, and then I'm going to add some blueberries. And I know that I could actually do that in real life. That wouldn't be so hard to do. And we're going to see, yeah, I like blueberries, so I'm going to add a cup. Now, if you want to take something out, so for instance, maybe this person's diet was too high in sodium, and she sees that, well, she could either take this out or cut it down to 1 serving and then maybe add a salad. Okay, so she would do that. So you're going to look through your 3 days, and with your results of your original white area of the chart here, you're going to make changes. Now you're going to make changes to the best of your ability, and then you're going to run these 2 reports and save them, by the way. So the intake compared to DRI and the intake spreadsheet, because that is going to give you the data to fill in the gray area of the chart. Before changes, after changes. Before changes, after changes. Now sometimes you'll notice as some things increase, others decrease. But keep in mind this very important point, which students get panicky about. Above 100% of the DRI is not too much until you reach the UL. So you might, let me give you an example here, you might kick vitamin B12 up to 500%. That is not above the UL, because B12 does not have an upper limit. That's nothing to be concerned about. You might kick the vitamin C up to 400%. That's not above the UL. You need to look at the UL chart to determine if your intake is excessive. For many nutrients, especially the water soluble, you can go well above the UL, 100, 1,000, without any problems. The only way to check is to check your new intake or your original intake against the UL. So the very last step of this is basically a reporting in of what you did and what you found. Remember, your diet is probably not going to be perfect, but you may notice that a few changes increase the nutrient value significantly, or maybe you'll find out that you didn't do enough. At the very end of this, there's a question about vitamin and mineral supplements. You need to decide. But if you tell me I don't like to take vitamin and mineral supplements, I don't think they're safe, or I don't like to take pills, but your diet is significantly inadequate, then you need to describe the changes that you still should make to your diet. Okay, so I know that may be a little bit confusing. I would suggest getting started and looking over the project, and then keep in mind that if you have problems, you can request a Zoom meeting and we can talk about this together. Take care. Last point before we take care, you're going to submit 2 report files with this, the before changes and the after changes.